I'm really frustrated that that Cineworld didn't have the courage to stand up to the mob and say, look, we are a Christian nation first and foremost, but also we're a nation that believes in free speech and Western values. And, of course, none of you have to go and see the film, which is another key point, because most of the protesters who were there, they've not even seen the film.
Well, you can't now at Cineworld, by definition.
Right, but, I mean, how ridiculous is that? If there were anybody from Cineworld watching this right now, I would say to them, look, it's not just up to individuals like us or other journalists to uphold Western values. It's big corporations who make a lot of money in these situations.
And Calgie, I'll bring you in now, mate. I suppose I'll get your overarching views on it, really. What's your thoughts?
Well, the Cineworld's response is the key here, right? Because we can have a very university philosophical debate, right, about how do we weigh up freedom of speech versus freedom of religion. The reality is here, actually, there isn't any clash. You can have both. You know, I keep saying the phrase Muslims have been offended by it. Well, I'd be very, very surprised if any Muslims have been personally offended, because I don't think they've seen it, and they don't have to see it. You know, that's the beauty of the freedom. We're not forcing them to watch it, but it's the response so often by corporate entities, you know, bowing to the first bout of pressure when actually it's a tiny minority. And how often do we see it's not just this issue, it's you know, trans issues, it's all sorts of issues where actually the quiet majority are absolutely fine with what's going on, and they don't seem to understand how to, you know, their PR teams, who are, you know, probably university educated, quite middle class, quite metropolitan, they just bow at the first sign of pressure. And I think that's what we find really frustrating, is actually it's not a debate of free speech on both sides. It feels like we're sort of shouting into the void, and we're the more difficult position for these corporate entities to back up.